Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're jumping into a genuinely epic adventure. And no, we aren't tracking a mythical hero here, but rather something that's probably sitting in your medicine cabinet right this second. We're tracing the hero's journey of a pill. Have you ever actually wondered how a pile of raw chemical compounds gets transformed into a life-saving medicine? Something you can safely swallow, apply, or inhale? Well, it doesn't happen by magic. It's the result of the highly precise, completely fascinating world of pharmaceutics. And today, we're going to demystify that entire process, step by step.
Okay, let's dive right into this. Here's our roadmap. We've got 5 key stops today. First, exploring the world of pharmaceutics. Then, checking out the official pharmacy rulebooks. After that, we'll look at how medicines are delivered, decode the medical prescription, and finally, calculate the perfect dose. Section 1. The world of pharmaceutics, laying the groundwork. So before a drug can actually heal you, it absolutely must be expertly crafted. And the crucial point here is understanding what this field is really all about. Pharmaceutics is the science and the art of preparing and dispensing drugs as medicines. Simply put, you can't just hand a patient a scoop of raw chemical powder, right? Pharmaceutics is that vital step of converting a raw drug into a usable dosage form. Think tablets, syrups, creams. It's how we make sure a patient can take their medication safely and effectively.
Now, as you can imagine, this science didn't just pop up overnight. Let's take a quick jump through time to see how the pharmacy profession evolved, looking specifically at its roots in India. Way back in the ancient period, medicines were pulled directly from natural sources. This was the era of Ayurveda, driven by massive foundational texts like the Charaka Samhita and the Sushruta Samhita. Then we hit the British period, and we see a major shift. Modern pharmacy education kicks off, and the early industrial roots take hold. And that brings us to the modern era, from 1948 to the present day. Things get highly regulated here. The Pharmacy Act of 1948 passes. The Pharmacy Council of India, or PCI, is formed, and that sparks just massive, explosive growth in both education and industrial manufacturing. And because of all that growth, a career in pharmacy today is way more than just standing behind the retail counter at the local drugstore. Sure, there's community pharmacy, which is your retail dispensing, but there's also hospital pharmacy for managing complex ward inventories. We've got industrial pharmacy handling mass production and quality control. Plus, pharmacists are out there leading clinical research, navigating intense regulatory affairs, acting as government drug inspectors, tracking drug safety and pharmacovigilance, and pushing the field forward through teaching and research. It's a truly vast, dynamic profession.
Moving on to Section 2, the official pharmacy rulebooks, setting the standard. So, with millions of medicines being manufactured globally, how do we actually guarantee that a tablet made in one lab is exactly as safe and potent as one made in another? Well, it all comes down to a really fascinating concept, the pharmacopoeia. This is literally the ultimate law. A pharmacopoeia is an official book containing the absolute standards for drugs and pharmaceutical substances. It dictates, down to the letter, how a medicine should be formulated and tested. If a manufacturer wants to sell a drug, they have to meticulously follow the rules laid out in these massive authoritative volumes.
But here's the thing, there isn't just one single master book for the whole world. Different regions have their own specific standards. You've got the major global players, the AP, or Indian Pharmacopoeia. There's the BP, the British Pharmacopoeia, and the USP, which is the United States Pharmacopoeia. Oh, and finally, there's the Extra Pharmacopoeia, which is this fantastic extra resource packed with specialized info on drugs and therapeutics.
Section 3. How medicines are delivered. The vehicles of healing.
All right, now that we have our rules established, let's look at how these drugs physically get into your system. Think about your own medicine cabinet again. You probably aren't keeping vials of raw, active chemicals in there, right? You have specific shapes, liquids, sprays. This is what we call a dosage form. It's officially defined as the physical form in which a drug is administered to the patient. If the drug is the passenger, the dosage form is the highly specialized vehicle that safely drives it exactly where it needs to go inside your body.
And there's just an incredible variety of these vehicles, categorized into 4 main physical states. First up, solid dosage forms. These are your classic tablets, capsules, and powders. Next are the liquid forms, which cover syrups, elixirs, and suspensions. Then we have semi-solid forms. These are usually the things you'd apply directly to your skin, so ointments, creams, and gels. And rounding it out, gaseous forms, like inhalations and aerosols that deliver medicine rapidly straight into the lungs.
You might be wondering, why do we bother going through all the trouble to create all these different forms? Why not just have everyone swallow a measured spoonful of the raw chemical?
Well, dosage forms are absolutely crucial for 4 big reasons. Number 1, they ensure an incredibly accurate dose every single time you take it. 2, patient convenience. Let's be real, swallowing a sweet cherry syrup is just way easier than choking down a bitter, dry powder. 3, they maintain the drug's chemical stability, keeping it from breaking down before it does its job. And 4, they deliver a much better therapeutic effect by making sure the medicine releases at the right time in the right place.
Section 4. Decoding the medical prescription. Translating the order.
So, once a drug is formulated and ready to go, how does it finally reach you? It almost always starts with that famously scribbled piece of paper your doctor hands you. Let's define what that paper actually is. A prescription is a written order from a registered medical practitioner to a pharmacist authorizing them to prepare and dispense medicines. It's essentially a formal legal bridge of communication. The doctor diagnoses your problem, but they use the prescription to communicate the exact solution over to the pharmacist. And it's definitely not just a random shopping list. A prescription has a very specific anatomical flow to it, broken into 5 parts. It always kicks off with the date and the patient's information. Then comes the superscription. That's the famous RX symbol you see everywhere in the pharmacy world. Right below that is the inscription, which is the core part listing the actual medication and its strength. Next up is the subscription. These are the specific behind-the-scenes directions from the doctor to the pharmacist on how to prepare the drug. Finally, we have the signa, which are the instructions meant for you, the patient, on how to actually take the medicine, all capped off by the prescriber's legal signature.
But here's the catch. Humans write these, which means humans inevitably make mistakes. And the stakes here are quite literally life and death. Pharmacists are rigorously trained to catch common prescription errors before they ever cross the counter. We're talking about a doctor accidentally prescribing the wrong dose, writing down the completely wrong drug, or, and this is a big one, providing dangerously illegible handwriting. Seriously, the whole doctors have terrible handwriting stereotype is a very real, very serious issue behind the pharmacy counter. They also have to watch out for incorrect frequencies of administration. It's the pharmacist's strict duty to verify every single detail.
Okay, Section 5. Calculating the perfect dose, the science of posology. We've got our rule books, we've built our dosage forms, and we've decoded the prescription. But how much medicine does a specific body actually need? That brings us to posology. It sounds like a super intense academic word, but the definition is actually pretty straightforward. Posology is the branch of medicine that deals entirely with drug dosage. It's the exact calculating science of figuring out precisely how much of a medicine a patient needs to get better without tipping the scales into harmful side effects. Because determining that perfect dose is for sure not a guessing game. A prescriber doesn't just pick a number out of thin air. Posology is highly dynamic and relies on some very key factors that are totally unique to the patient. We're talking about their age and sex, their body weight, and their body surface area, or BSA. It also depends on the route of administration, like is it a pill or an IV, the specific disease condition they're fighting, and any pre-existing drug tolerance their body might have already built up. And this math becomes absolutely critical when dealing with children, since their growing bodies process chemicals very differently than adults. Pharmacists actually use 3 distinct formulas here. There's Young's formula, which calculates the dose based on age. You take the child's age, divided by their age plus 12, and multiply that by the standard adult dose. Then there's Clark's formula, which swaps age for weight. You take the child's weight in pounds, divide by 150, and multiply by the adult dose. And finally, the highly precise BSA method. Here, you take the child's body surface area, divided by 1.73, and again, multiply by the adult dose. So yeah, there's some serious, vital mathematics happening right there behind the pharmacy counter. And that brings our journey to a close today. From the ancient, natural texts of Ayurveda to the highly precise, life-saving mathematics of modern posology, pharmaceutics truly is the hidden engine powering global healthcare. But before we sign off, I want to leave you with something to ponder. With these incredibly precise posology formulas shaping the doses we take today, how exactly will the rise of personalized medicine and genetic testing completely rewrite the prescriptions of tomorrow? I mean, will the mass-produced tablet eventually just become a thing of the past? It's definitely something to think about the next time you pop open that medicine cabinet. Thanks so much for hanging out with me for this explainer, and keep asking questions.